Still haven't fixed that, have we? Okay, we'll get there. All right, we're back live with Cale and Rob. I know it still says Rob and Cale on the graphic, but we're slow around here. We're working through it. Okay, so yeah, we're back for another edition of Live with Rob and Cale here, and really no agenda today.
Yeah.
We're just gonna
This is gonna go off the rails real quick.
Yeah, we're gonna try to talk through a whole bunch of different things, from back to the education podcast last week to innovation and how companies fail or do well with innovating, and we'll see where it goes.
Or don't. Yeah. It was actually interesting because I was telling you before we did our last session on sort of AI in education, and had some like friends and family, and I saw some comments that it brought out, I wouldn't say riled people up, but definitely some opinions that came out, and I thought that was Did you hear anything? Did you actually get any feedback from anybody?
I didn't really read, to be honest, I didn't really read the comments that much, so...
Why did we do this?
To our listeners that did comment, but I do think, it's controversial, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have teachers out there that work hard and are giving it everything they have, and I think they see this as kind of what now, and I don't know if it's necessarily a threat, but it's different. It's change. It's going to be used. How is it going to be used? Some teachers probably don't want to use it. They're being forced to. And when I say it, I'm talking about AI. But yeah, very interesting topic. And I have heard, through you and some other people that listen, that they want us to keep on that topic. And
we're going to have a guest coming on in a couple of weeks, I think you said, about that. And then I actually think it's funny because I was thinking about it afterwards as well, is that when I went to school, way back when, like you used encyclopedias, right, to do things. So imagine if we still used it today. Like that's what I mean. You just adapt. Like you have to adapt to what's happening. I think there is. I'm sure there's negative when it comes to any type of technology. You can use it for negative if you want. Doesn't matter what it is, right? So, but it was actually interesting because it got me thinking about we have no agenda today. So it got me thinking about AI in this whole discussion around education. The discussion went around, is it ethical to have AI write news or content on websites you go to, or that sort of thing? And that actually was an interesting discussion, because my opinion is when I read something, if I'm interested, I actually don't really care who wrote it. And again, it's just sample size of Rob. But to me, it's like if I'm a sports guy and I'm reading an article and I enjoy the article, well, I don't go and go look at the bottom.
The author.
Who wrote it? Oh, Cale wrote it. I don't want to read this. So I don't know. I'm curious because I think you work with a lot of clients creating automation around that.
Right, and I think there's to be clear, I think taking someone else's work and just plagiarizing is one thing.
Sure.
But for an AI model to be able to go search, every resource in the world, and populate it into its own thought, and for us or for you that are searching for it, or anybody else that's posting on it, I look at that as an asset to people that are trying to find information.
Right.
When Google first came out, you used to have to search and put keywords in parentheses and make sure you could, and then you'd get the list and you'd have to you'd filter it all down by time to get what you were looking for. Now you can go ask ChatGPT in real time and get that. And then some people now are taking that content and reposting and building brands and businesses around it.
Right.
I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's an asset down the road of getting information to people faster and making life easier.
So I think people are probably scared though, right? Because if I'm in news, or if I'm a content writer, you automatically go to the negative and go, it's going to take my job. Right. And I'm not sure if that's in some cases 100%. Right. I watched a video on, I think I shared it with you, Gary Vee, and he's like, we're an agency. They're one of the largest independent agency in the world. And he's like, my creative department might not exist in the next 3 years because AI is going to create those ads at scale and at cheaper cost. So he knows it's coming. So it's reality. He's like it or not. I'm not saying I like it, but this is what's happening.
Well, and it's people didn't like when, internet came and changed newspaper.
Right.
You look at where newspaper went to where online news is today. AI will allow. We've talked about AI influencers, AI newsrooms. Where there's a person there that looks like a human, acts like a human, talks like a human, but is $9.99 a month on a subscription. Right. So there'll be newsrooms, there'll be organizations that go that way, but there's also today there was a story that broke in Kelowna, and there was someone interviewing a police officer downtown in real time.
Right.
We felt their emotion.
Right.
That's hard to replace.
Yeah, it's hard to replace. Yeah.
And I think that, people get on their heels with AI really fast and say, well, this is a threat. This is going to take my job. Well, or does it make your job easier or better?
Yeah,
or can you bring more value to your consumer now because you have more time to do other things?
Right. Interesting. Do you use AI? Do you use ChatGPT, or I think there's Perplexity? Do you use it as a search engine, or do you still go to Google?
I like using it as a search engine.
You do? Okay.
I do it more as, and I might ask you the same question because I know everybody's different, but I use it more, like I'll do both, but I like to see what ChatGPT brings to the top. Right? It's less overwhelming.
Right. I've started using Perplexity. Because it's one that I read about. I think that's what it's called. Is it? Yeah.
It's trained on OpenAI.
Yeah. So, is it? Oh, so I downloaded the app and I've been trying it.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to build themselves as sort of the competitor to Google from a search engine, but you don't get all the ads.
Right.
And then I'm like, well, then how do you monetize it? Because it's free right now. There's a paid version, but how do you monetize it? Because Google makes probably billions of dollars off their Google AdWords and stuff. So, a day, yeah. So that it got me thinking, like, how do you monetize those things like Perplexity and stuff like that? But how many? I'm curious. It's probably a small percentage of people that are using it right now for a search engine, I assume. But I just was curious. It's hard to change my habits because I still go to Google because that's what I've done for forever. So it's hard to change your habit, but eventually, it might get there.
And I think like Google's going to have their own, right? Like Safari will have their own. Like these big search engines will optimize for easier ways to use that in AI search engine with using Google. Right. They're going to drive people that way of like, hey, don't even go open the Perplexity app because we have the same type of value right here in our search engine.
But don't you think Google, like, they should have been ahead of this though? Like what always, and again, I'm not in the boardrooms making those decisions, but you think it's not like AI just happened. It's been around for a while, like, right?
For sure.
So, but I think ChatGPT was sort of the one that maybe really put fuel to the fire. But don't you think Google should be further ahead than everybody?
But like, you look what Apple did. Right. I'll respond with another question. Why did Apple partner and say, hey, you know what, we're going to kind of take the back seat here and see how these integrations with AI go?
But isn't that smart though?
Exactly.
Because wouldn't it cost, I would assume, you develop this stuff all the time. It's not like you develop, it's like, you just do it over the weekend and have this model train. Like, so it takes time, energy. Like, so I think it's smart from Apple from that perspective. I think we'll see some crazy things that they've announced with the new iOS. We'll see how it works. But to me, I take a step back and go, it makes sense, because isn't Microsoft a big partner in OpenAI as well? Yeah,
like people are upset with kind of going back to the Apple part first, and then I can go to the Microsoft thing. People are upset with Apple because they believe it opens a ton of privacy issues with, having your phone controlled by a third-party AI that's really powering a lot of the software behind it. So they've said Siri's going to have AI capabilities powered by OpenAI, messaging, email, like all of these things that you feel as your like private personal information will be opened up to a third party now. Now, I'm not saying that there's not, security compliance and things with that, but I think people were expecting Apple to unveil their own awesome AI.
People thought, oh, interesting.
And I think they didn't, because sometimes being first to market isn't the best.
Right.
Like they have a tool they can use for a little while, gain feedback. I don't know what their partnership agreements are with OpenAI, but I could see them releasing something epic after they do this kind of soft launch to not fall too far behind, but gain enough information to be like, okay, this is the way we want to do it.
I find the privacy thing a little bit of BS, though. I really do when people say that, because it's like, do you have a Facebook account? Do you have an Instagram account? Do you search? Do you go to Amazon? Like, to me, it's like, if you think that if you want to be locked down, then you got to get off the internet.
Right.
Like, I just feel like as soon as you open your browser, you're kind of opening yourself up. Like, and then the other part of me says, like, how important am I really that someone's taking my, you know what I mean? Like, who am I that they're going to steal my identity? And I get it happens, but I think the privacy thing is a little bit of a BS thing to me. I mean, again, it's just my personal opinion, because they're the same people that go and post on Facebook about what they had for dinner or their kid's birthday party. And I'm like, well, then you're not, like, you can't have both. You just, if you're not happy with technology, that's a different thing, but it's happening. Like, that's what I feel part of it is that, and again, you live in this space, but like it or not, it's reality. Like, we're not talking about this is coming. Like, we're living in it, and it's only going to grow. So either you are on the sideline, or you're in it. And I just feel like the people on the sideline are I think you talked about last time, Mark Cuban, like name all the big names, like Elon Musk.
Which I think we're going to talk about today.
Every single one of these literally billionaires are all in on this. They're not just doing it because they got nothing to do.
Well, and I think it even translates to the small mom and pop, doctor's office or dentist or aesthetics clinic. Like, we've seen it in all of these different areas of like, hey, I need to innovate.
And automate efficiencies and
with workflows, because, and I have this down today, is customer expectations are going to change rapidly fast. So if you walk into a clinic and everything's and it's AI check-in and you've done everything before, and they're looking at your health history to answer questions for you, and it's making it easier, and then you walk into the next clinic and you sit there with a pen and a clipboard and you start filling it out. Expectations are going to be, but that guy was so much easier.
100%.
Why are you doing that? And so that's starting to trickle down now into this snowball effect of like,
interesting.
It started with the big boys, and now all the way down. And I'm not saying that this is like the bottom of the arc, but the smaller businesses are starting to look up now and go, holy shit, like it's coming.
But the cool thing is that, and that's one area actually it's funny, because I think you and I lined on notes there, is that I think that's the cool thing, is that if you're a local business, you can still implement stuff that helps you on a day-to-day basis and saves you time, money, or be more efficient, or better experience for your staff, or better experience for your clients, and you don't have to go spend millions of dollars to do it. And I think that's what the cool thing is, because if you look at other things that maybe have come from a technology perspective, little businesses like, well, it's great, but how do I implement? This is something you can actually start and do. Like, literally tomorrow.
And it's honestly AI from that standpoint, from the mom and pop shop that want to streamline operations, is affordable. It's actually taking costs down. Subscriptions are very cheap. There's stuff that through third parties that you can access with no developers. That's never really been seen before, to make that big of an impact with a third-party subscription.
Because you typically had to go hire someone to do all that stuff.
You're bringing in a new CRM 10 years ago. Like, you have like the whole CRM team in your office.
And a change management consultant.
You're putting wires through the walls. And, just like, it's not there anymore.
No.
And that's kind of my point, is the pressure to innovate today, I think, is bigger than it's ever been. Because those that remain complacent in what they've done, that's not going to work in this next era, right? Like, the understanding of customer expectation and remaining complacent in where your business is at, no matter what you're doing, you'll have to innovate to this change. I'm not saying today, but mark my words, 10 years from now, everyone's going to look back at this time and say, I wish I would have done that sooner. Or why we didn't believe, because every big powerhouse in the space is putting all their money, all their time, all of their resources behind AI, streamline, cut costs, cut employees, cut overhead, cut as much as you can to take advantage of the software. And it's scary, but it's also, I keep telling people, you can sit here and be scared of it, or you can start figuring out how you're going to adapt to it. Because
it was actually interesting that I was reading, I was listening to a podcast on this partnership between Apple and AI, and I think Elon Musk might have tweeted something about, do you say tweet still? X, whatever you want to say, that this partnership actually could have potentially killed a bunch of AI companies, because there was what this partnership does now is that it will replace because it'll translate for you.
Right.
You'll do all this stuff for you that you might have had a third party app do it.
Right.
Now all those third party apps are not needed.
Right.
Because you're going to do so. I'm curious, like you're saying, you have to adapt. Is there eventually? I think I hear a lot. Will Google, will OpenAI / Apple, will Amazon, will Elon Musk, will they just own all the market? It doesn't matter that you own a little, we have a news platform. It doesn't really matter because they're just going to own the market anyways.
Well, I mean, if you look right now, today, Elon Musk owns space.
Right.
Well, him and the three others, Jeff Bezos and whoever else, they're the front runners in space.
Right.
He owns the largest free communication platform in the world.
In the world, yeah.
He owns the power grid, basically, with his chargeable vehicles.
Yeah.
He owns the transportation sector, and we're going to get into that, but he's really pushing that. Like, there's a lot of space
that he's already owning.
That there's a lot of power in in one person. And I think Elon Musk is great right now for change, for innovation, but people do fear that. Like,
we should ask Elon to come on our podcast.
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
This is a call out to Elon Musk
to
join us on. We have questions for you.
I would love that if you're listening. Elon,
I'm sure he's listening.
Yeah, he's probably out there right now. I think we're live right now.
Yeah. I'm sure he's going to call in. By the end of the show, I guarantee he's going to call in.
TJJ, if he calls, tell him we need 5 minutes and we'll patch you in. Have you heard of, on Elon, this RoboTaxi?
Well, it's funny because you had asked and I was like, I kind of heard and I took a guess and I was a little bit, but when you were telling me, totally fascinating. So it's really cool what he's doing there.
So Elon and Tesla have released on August 8th that they're going to announce RoboTaxi, which this is a bunch of people speculating on what it's going to be.
Right.
What it sounds like is they're going to offer a fully loaded Tesla for $25,000 even. So it's going to open the market up to a lot more people to be able to drive Teslas, which is what he needs.
He wants,
concept. So the car model, based on what I can understand, is they will release a vehicle that you can buy for $25,000 and allow to be on this platform called RoboTaxi, where it can actually leave your house, leave your work, go pick people up, drop them off, and then bring your vehicle back, all self-driving.
And you just make money.
Yeah, and he'll pay you to use your car. And then he's also going to release hundreds of thousands of vehicles that have no steering wheel that are owned by him and Tesla that will just go out and pick people up, and they'll just be running all the time.
So if you're a cab company right now,
or Uber,
you must be like, holy crap.
Right, and that kind of goes back to, I said, like, nobody can be complacent in what they do. I think that when you look at Uber and Lyft, you're still wowed. What he's saying is, hey, I can do what they can do without the drivers. And he's now saying, and he's promised, that it will be cheaper than your average community bus pass per mile.
Insane.
So he'll pick you up, drop you off for $6, $8, $4, $7. And this is coming. They're already, they think this is going to boost the stock. It's going to get more of their vehicles moving. And ultimately now you could invest in a Tesla that makes you money when you're sleeping.
Imagine if you're Uber and you just they're fairly new and fairly innovative and you could be out of business in like how many years? Like that's pretty crazy to think about.
And I think there'll be a lot of regulation around it.
100%.
Think of the billions and billions of dollars they've spent getting drivers.
That's crazy.
And those drivers now are crucial to Uber, but Uber's also in a spot now where they gotta recoup that investment of signing all of those drivers up and continuing to sign drivers up, where he's saying, hey, I want more Teslas on the road, because if I get more Teslas, we can boost the more electric vehicles. And I'll make you money. If you buy one from me, it's an investment, because now your car is actually generating revenue for you. There's never been a car like
that's
besides
insane.
Uber, right? Takes your time.
Well, you got to go do it.
And
that's
so,
crazy.
He says that he aims for volume production in 2024, and he promises that it will be lower cost per mile than any city bus transportation. He said it'll be the cheapest you've ever seen.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's scary and exciting. And he's going to take you to the moon and to work. It's whatever you want.
Or if you're going to the moon, your card can take
that's right, while you go there.
Yeah. So just keep that's on the radar. We'll probably talk more about that in August, but August 8th is when they say they're going to.
That's crazy. We should buy one.
Yeah.
We should test it.
Yeah.
We should. 25,000, that's pretty. It's probably American, which is like 80,000 Canadian.
Yeah.
So
you probably have that in your pocket right now.
Yeah, totally.
Rob's going to buy all our listeners one.
I'll cut a check. Yeah. This is like Oprah. Everyone gets a car.
Everyone gets a Tesla.
All our listeners right now.
Get a.
You think there's anyone listening right now?
DJJ,
Do we have any live stream? Anyone on the live stream right now? We should get them a car.
But we'll take the revenue. From
that's right. I think Jim has a couple Teslas. We're going to give him one of Jim's Teslas.
Perfect. Yeah. We're auctioning off Jim's Tesla.
Too funny.
But yeah, it's crazy. I think that I was going to talk about, so you look at what RoboTaxi's doing, and then you think back to like Blockbuster.
Right.
And like what Netflix did to Blockbuster. Like, can RoboTaxi be that to Uber? And it's not to say that Uber won't innovate or Lyft or whoever it is, but...
maybe Uber will just buy a bunch of Teslas.
Yeah, I don't know.
And just get rid of the people. That could be another option. So you could, I guess, as a company, you could just buy a fleet of these and just put them out into the. You could do that as well.
Yeah,
interesting.
It'll be very interesting.
Yeah, I wonder how the regulations will work on that.
They were also saying too that like it's an immersive experience from your phone, so you can control the music, the temperature, open the doors, lock the doors, siren, all from your phone. So when you get into the car, you don't touch anything. You just open your phone and you control the car from there.
That's crazy.
You can update your address, eventually maybe even speed up or slow down. Who knows, right? With the car. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of regulations. And it's interesting. Tesla purchased or is invested in a company that's testing this right now in Scottsdale. So they actually have cars out there that are self-driving. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's coming.
Interesting. Lots of change. I think the big takeaway for me is like, people have to you can't just be complacent, like especially if you're in business, like even more so, because I just like you're going to be left behind, period. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts. And I know, because this is touching every industry. Like literally you can name any industry and there's a way to create efficiency and automation, use AI, period.
Yeah, I was laughing on the way here, just thinking through this. Do you remember MapQuest?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, my mom used to go on and she would print, and it would come out in like 60 pages.
Yeah,
and it'd be like, turn left,
and then you would throw two together because the map goes.
But they stayed stagnant in that, like, we'll print you the directions. And then Google Maps was like, we'll read them out loud to you on the fly. And like, that's the complacency. Kodak cameras, right? Like they sticked to that model. And I think I looked the other day, their stock's worth like 400 million now. My dad said when he was a kid, Kodak camera stock was like the stock.
Yeah, right.
So it's like just crazy how these even large companies, they stay complacent, and over time you see history is going to repeat itself.
Yeah, interesting. So. Yeah, interesting stuff. But anything else you wanted to cover today? There's some really good topics, actually. Yeah.
And what about you, DJJ?
No, it's interesting that you just promised to buy everybody Tesla, so that's exciting.
Yeah, so if you just call Rob or Check Creative,
we'll put you through to Cale. Anyways, I think that was good. So we're on, I think, in a couple weeks. We have a guest coming.
Yeah.
We're excited to, he's in the AI and education space in the US. Yeah. And we're excited to chat more about that. I think he's in university.
He's with Baylor University in Texas. So really big name in the education space, especially AI space.
Right.
He ran schools in Chicago. He's worked with private schools in San Jose, and he's now with Baylor, kind of spearheading this. So it'd be cool to see what he thinks.
Yeah, he's going to be calling it, unless Elon reaches out, because then next week we'll be on with Elon.
Yeah,
we might have to bump him, but
can AI help the Oilers win tonight?
Yeah, well, I guess they will, because I think that's one thing we've talked about that, that the AI within sports, like it's crazy that
stats and who should be on the ice and.
Well, they must have used AI to find out how to score on Bobrovsky, because they couldn't score the first two games. They couldn't play.
Yeah, now they're going in like crazy.
Now they're going in like crazy.
It'll be a good game.
Yeah, it should be a big game actually. But I was saying earlier that I've been following a lot more football, European football, because it's a Euro Cup and it's
soccer.
Soccer. So, but it's kind of cool. But it'll be a big game tonight.
Yeah, it will. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.